Okay, so public comments, you get an opportunity to talk about city business that's going on. I'm going to have to keep it tight to 3 minutes, so try to keep it concise. And also, just so everybody knows, we have a public hearing on another business item that I think most of you are here to hear or talk about. So you'll have an opportunity at that point. So this is an opportunity to talk about any other city business, and we'll try to get through this. I got 3 pages when I normally only have 1 or 2. So try to be within 3 minutes if you can. So first up, Bree Bikey. State your name and whether you live in the city limits, and you have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Brianna Bike. My husband Christopher and I are Woodinville residents and own Heritage Restaurant Bar and Tart Bakery in the Hollywood District. We would greatly appreciate your consideration in regards to parking around our businesses. We opened our restaurant in 2018. Since then, we regularly receive 1-star Yelp, OpenTable, and Google reviews from guests that have never even dined in our establishment due to lack of parking. Removing debilitating reviews from these online platforms is beyond challenging and time-consuming. On any given weekend, we lose 5 to 10% of our reservations due to lack of parking. This equates to an average of $500 to $3,000 in revenue. Our employees, 45 currently, used to be able to park on the dirt lot that is now Harvest under construction. Since they lost that option, we allow our employees to park anywhere they are able. Those employees who previously parked on the road headed up to Hollywood Hill, 145th, have stopped due to numerous car break-ins. We have had several expansion opportunities come to our table as of late. We are reluctant to consider further business expansion, new concepts due to the lack of available parking. We are grateful that the city is working with Harvest to assist and develop a solution for the severe parking issue in our area. We are excited for the growth and welcome it with open arms. We sincerely hope that ample parking for future visitors and employees will be available. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Teicher?
Good evening. My name is Josh, and I am a resident of Woodinville, Washington. Woodinville Park and Ride has long been serving the needs of our community, but we must save it. So how do we know this park and ride is crucial to saving? First, according to a survey from the city of Woodinville, more than 78% of respondents drive to the park and ride from numerous destinations where they otherwise cannot reach public transit close enough to their homes. If we reduce parking, we reduce demand. Additionally, more than half use the park and ride in 2 or more days a week, which is 35%. Finally, 64% would absolutely recommend Metro and Sound Transit services to and from the park and ride. People use the park and ride because A, it has free parking, B, parking there and continuing the rest of the commute via bus helps save fuel, cost, and also traffic, and C, the ease of access. Our park and ride is within proximity to many of our city's services, events, and homes. Which leads me to point out accessibility. Our park and ride is located within walking distance from many shops, restaurants, healthcare centers, and homes. Many of us use the park and ride to walk from and to our bus and our destinations. For many commuters using our buses, our park and ride is the closest place available to park. Again, as many of us live in areas that require one to drive and otherwise cannot find nearby transit. Cottage Lake, home to our Woodinville Library and many other residences, do not currently have a bus line. Our Hollywood Schoolhouse District is also not currently accessible by transit. If we were to help implement bus lines, along with affordable housing measures, if we were to do something to this park and ride, this would drive our more communities together and may make it easier for our communities to reach those points of interest without worrying about driving or losing time in their vehicles. And also, many of us do not have a vehicle. So let's stand together and save this park and ride and look at the demographics and the data and help save our commute in this vital component of our community and growing city. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue Howard.
Hello, I'm Sue Howard, and I'm a resident of Woodinville. And I'm here tonight on behalf of the Pollinator Pathway Northwest. Your support of our pollinator education work with a $1,000 investment in the Pollinator Fest was deeply appreciated, and we had a wonderful, well-attended event. Thank you for helping us reach out to our community. We have also stayed busy by being a partner in pollination with the Rotary, Malbach's, Woodinville Garden Club, the Sammamish Valley Alliance, and participating in events such as Denny Fest, Oxbows, Summer Celebration, local school fairs, the Farmers Market, and other community activities. And we had great fun handing out sunflowers to the community as we took part in the Celebrate Woodinville Parade. Congratulations on the funding you've secured for the East Trail project. The plans that are emerging are exciting and a spectacular opportunity for the city and the community. Stewardship of our precious agricultural land, cityscapes, recreational trails and parks, homes and gardens has a role for everyone. Our hope for the East Trail Corridor is a design focused on creating a healthy, diverse, and abundant habitat for a variety of pollinators, as well as being a beautiful pathway through our city. As Woodinville develops its urban and suburban footprint, we would like the upfront design work to include landscaping focusing on native and pollinator-friendly habitat, and we would like to take part. We would like to be a part of that design. Thank you.
Thank you. Shenquan Liang.
Thank you. My name is Shenquan Liang. I'm a resident living within the city limits of Woodinville. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to address a pressing issue raised by a lot of members in our community. I think in June, a report from a Seattle-based media outlet revealed that there were some discussions led by Councilmember Millman about transforming the Woodinville parking ride into high-density development. This brings up quite a few concerns. First and foremost, I, like many of the members in our community, I partially dependent on the Woodinville parking ride for my commute. This potential closure for redevelopment would greatly impact, me and other many, hundreds of residents who use it as a crucial transit hub. Please save the parking ride. Additionally, it is very alarming how this news actually surfaced, right? So basically, Councilmember Millman seemingly began talks with other stakeholders in the community without proper council authorization or community engagement. This is concerning because we learned about this news actually from our media, not from any of the city's official channels. And while these proactive efforts are appreciated, we really want transparency from our representatives and from our government. And last but not least, I want to bring up to the attention to the application of our council's rules and the enforcement of the rules. I think as a citizen of Woodinville, I believe those rules should be applied equally across all the council members. And earlier this year, another council member faced censure for less actions compared to what Councilmember Millman did. So to ensure fairness and uphold our guidelines for the council, I believe a review of Mr. Millman's actions and potentially a censure is needed. In summary, we must really ensure our community's best interest is served and also demand transparency and accountability from our elected officials. I hope we all consider these implications of the issues today seriously. Thank you.
Alex Campbell.
Good evening. Here to speak about the park and ride too. I'm going to give a few stats from a survey which someone said was City of Woodinville. It was actually my survey. We got some great results though from commuters. As was already said, 75% of the people are driving in. And one of the key things that they did specifically call out was the availability of parking. If anyone's ever visited the Redmond area, The park and rides there have gone to reservation-only pay parking. That actually drives down the number of people who will spontaneously choose to go in and park. So that's certainly something we don't want to see here. I will also call out that our park and ride is really well placed. In addition to being downtown, easily walkable to people who live here, it's also on a main north-south way with Highway 9 feeding directly into 140th, and Woodinville Duval is the main east-west. So any addition in density as we see developed to the north or to the east will feed into the park and ride. And so having a very large piece of land there, a piece of land that we cannot replace because there is no way to find equivalent land in equivalent nearness to our downtown, is an opportunity for the Metro to actually expand services over time. For this reason, I don't believe any reduction in the land mass of the park and ride is appropriate. If we do want to have this conversation, let's wait 7 to 10 years after 1,600 more apartments have been built, and we have a chance to see what actually is happening downtown. And at that time, I would really like to see, as opposed to what we've seen here, a robust public discussion from the start in open council meetings. Thank you.
So there's a case of the tail wagging the dog here, just to clarify. So, yeah, I've had meetings with the state and county about trying to find better utilization with the park and ride. It's very underutilized. In particular, I'm very interested in seeing if there's a way to get bus service out to light rail in Redmond.
Point of order, this is public comment time. If we want to make these conversations for personal statement, they would be best at the end of the meeting. We have a lot of people here waiting their turn.
Councilmember Bess Campbell, your husband just spoke. You will have a chance to speak.
Point of order for personal attacks. I'm merely requesting that you give the people their time to speak in the order that it's given in the meeting. I hope you refrain from personal attacks when you disagree with fact in front of you.
I'm sorry that you feel that pointing out your husband spoke as a personal attack. That is not a personal attack. So I have had meetings with the state and the county about trying to find better utilization to our heavily underutilized park and ride. We have a documentation because there is some gaslighting going on with the park and ride about saving our park and ride. We're trying to improve the park and ride, add routes. They've taken away routes since the pandemic. So, and I'm surprised that people here don't know this, but 5.2 September of 2022, Council adopted a regional transportation program. It says advocate for approved regional transit connectivity, particularly to destinations of Kirkland, Bellevue. Couple service improvements with investments in the function and accessibility of the bus stations. This could include relocating, and I quote, the park and ride or improving its neighborhood integration. The other people that have been in the meetings is our city manager. Mr. City Manager, would you kind of weigh in and characterize what our meetings?
Point of order, this is still public comment. It's time for the public to speak. If we would like to discuss or add this as an agenda item, I recommend we do it.
Councilmember Bess Campbell, I'm the chair of the committee. I'm within my purview to ask the city manager.
Point of order.
I challenge your
At this point, I believe you're both out of order.
I challenge the review.
Could we please continue?
All right, let's move on. If anybody has any questions, feel free to email me on the park and ride. Nothing has been done that is illegal or is above board. There's nothing to report on because we don't know yet what
Point of order,
the value is.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Next up, Greg Lill.
Well, I'm Greg Lill. I'm a business owner here in Woodinville in the Hollywood area. I've been founded DeLille Cellars over 30 years ago, and I've seen the area grow quite a bit. And the parking situation that we have today in the Hollywood area, even tonight as I was leaving my home, which is just 200 yards south of there, I could see people out in front of Breeze Restaurant, kind of circling through the restaurant as I was waiting at the roundabout, as people are trying to find that open spot to maybe find. We see dramatic growth going on with Chateau Saint Michel, adding more concerts every summer. We see the new development that's being built there with Harvest, and parking is going to be critical to making that all work. If we don't have enough parking and correct parking, we're going to have more people, more traffic with people circling around trying to find a place to park, and we're just going to have more congestion versus if there's a dedicated place to park, then people know they can come here, they can attend the events, they can visit those businesses, and it can be a success for everyone involved. So I really hope the council and the city really looks at this parking garage idea and doing something with this with the great benefit of getting the land at no cost. And it would just improve the entire experience really for everybody, people that live in the area as well as the businesses that are there. So I hope you do look at that favorably. Thank you.
Thank you. Melanie Baker.
My name is Melanie Baker. I'm a board member of the Woodinville Chamber of Commerce. I'm an employee of St. Michel Wine Estates and a resident of a nearby community and often in Woodinville for personal reasons. The shortage of parking in Woodinville is felt by businesses and residents. Regardless of where you are in the city, it is common refrain that the city would be benefited by more ample parking supply. Woodinville is a growing city, and it is important for the city to look for creative ways to enhance the parking supply in the city. New projects can address their own parking needs, but that doesn't address the overall shortage of parking. I want to endorse the idea of using public-private partnerships to address this parking issue. In this case, the owners of Harvest Development are proposing a major land contribution to support this effort, thereby reducing the cost to the city. The City Council should support this plan. But this should just be the first chance to create a public-private partnership to increase the parking supply. If this plan works, then the city can look for opportunities to create similar partnerships elsewhere in the city. Thank you for your attention to these comments.
Thank you. Susan Boundy Sanders.
Good evening, Council. I'm Susan Boundy Sanders, living inside the city limits. For your business items about the tourist business zone, I ask you to consider some context. First, when Woodinville incorporated, it took 3 votes to reduce to an area that supported incorporation. Then, the King County Boundary Review Board reduced that area by as much as it was allowed to in order to save the farmland between the Hollywood Corner and downtown. Second, literally thousands of people are working to protect the Sammamish Valley. For King County's adult beverage ordinance, Friends of Sammamish Valley organized thousands of neighbors and currently has a request for discretionary review before the Washington Supreme Court. Let me be clear. Your votes tonight support that effort or your votes undermine it. Third, I ask you not to make it harder for the Chinook and coho salmon trying to work their way past this development up the Sammamish River to the Issaquah hatchery. Fourth, this is the 4th code change and 4th version of the development agreement for this developer for this development. This developer's style is to come back incrementally, asking for more and more. Maya Angelou once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. This developer has shown you that he will keep asking for more. Believe him. Fifth, you've received from Serena Glover, the executive director of Friends of Sammamish Valley, an email about the lack of SEPA review of the code change proposed in Ordinance 756. Let me give you the short version of that. SEPA review was done on residential units totaling about 313,000 square feet. Tonight's total is 612,000 square feet, nearly double that. Tonight's ordinance also requests that you remove the limit on residential building coverage. Combined with this developer's pattern of asking for more, that's likely to result in 1 million or more square feet of residential, 3 times what the city has conducted an environmental evaluation for. SEPA requires that a jurisdiction evaluate the likely potential environmental impact caused by a zoning change. Woodinville has not met this requirement. In closing, I ask you to vote no on both the development agreement and Ordinance 756. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary Harris.
My name is Gary Harris. I live in the Woodinville city limits. My topic for the first public comments here tonight is regarding OPMA guidelines, which is Open Public Meeting Act for those who aren't familiar with that term. So for the months of July, August, September, and October, you have had one meeting. Apparently maybe the meeting in November, first meeting in November is going to be canceled also. So supposed to have two meetings, first and third Tuesdays of each month, except for August, which you have off for summer. So this bothers me. This bothers me a great deal. I'm wondering what you're hiding, what you are doing instead of being here in a meeting where people can hear you speak and see what you vote on. So I am very concerned about that. I'd like to give you a example from my past life when I was on the State Pharmacy Commission. We had a senior assistant attorney general that was present at all of our meetings, and she was very strict in that any to be discussed at a OPMA meeting, that item must be on the agenda. We had closed sessions for disciplinary hearings. If somebody one of our members brought up something during that time, she said, no, you can't even talk about that now. You will have to bring that up when we're back in open session and vote on it. So I'm concerned that, and when her comment was that it's much easier to defend you guys if you obey the rules. So I have a couple of questions. So from Mr. Ganson, I would like to know the exact RCW or WAC that pertains to OPMA meetings, specifically to City of Woodinville Council meetings. I'd like to know what the consequences are for not obeying those meetings. And I have a couple of suggestions. Why don't you take half pay for July, September, and October, since you're only here half the time? And maybe some people should be censured for not having their meetings. And so the things in are the park and ride, developer agreements, and rezoning of land near McClendon's are all things that I think are possibly being talked about without us knowing about it. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Randall.
First off, Mr. Harris, I'm glad you missed us. We're back. Welcome. And if you're going to make accusations, please take them all the way and report those to the proper authorities so they are properly executed. Thank you.
Pierce Stickney.
Good evening. My name is Pierce Stickney. I'm going to keep this pretty brief. I do not live inside the Woodinville city limits, but I represent Mark Ryan Winery, and therefore I'm affected by many of the things. I'm here, like many of us, to talk about parking. We are historically just underparked in the Hollywood Tourist District, and it impacts our business, it impacts our employees, it impacts all of the people that come and really support us. So I would like to echo really what Greg Lill and Brianna Bike said. It's really an important issue, and I appreciate your consideration as you go through the issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Pufow? Sorry.
Hi, my name is Robert Pufow. I do live inside the Woodinville city limits. I am also a representative of Mark Ryan Winery. I echo the sentiments of Pierce Stickney and then everyone else who has also come up here and discussed the issues of parking in the Woodinville area. I directly work in the Mark Ryan tasting room, and I hear from at least 1 out of 5 customers of how bad the parking situation is in that area. With our new tasting room opening up near DeLille, near Sparkman, in that old Red Hook Brewery building, it'll probably be a very similar situation over there. I'm new to the area, so I've heard that there have been solutions pitched before, especially with Harvest. I really do believe that could be a fantastic solution for this issue, and I appreciate your guys' time and everything you guys are doing to help fix it. So thank you.
Thank you. While I'm thinking about it, do we still have the virtual comment? I didn't see her on the screen. Sylvia Eddings? No? Okay. She signed up for virtual, might have missed her. So Wyatt Giddings is next. I'm sorry? Okay. Thank you. Troy Anderson.
Hi, I'm Troy Anderson. I have a business inside of Woodinville. Thank you guys for hearing our public comments tonight. My comment is around parking and specifically the Harvest Development Agreement there. And I agree that it is a good win-win, I think, for everyone involved. I actually am the board chair for the Woodinville Chamber, so definitely a champion of businesses in and around the area. I think it's a win for the developer. No one really wants to hear that. But in that, we get a win for the city, and that we get parking for our residents and taxpayer revenue for people that patronize those businesses. We also get a win for the employees for having a place to park that's safe and close and convenient to their place of employment. And then, like myself, I like to patronize the winery tasting rooms and the restaurants around there. And so I have often found that parking is definitely a challenge and have to park in dangerous situations up the Hollywood Hill there, and then possibly maybe illegally parking. But so I'm an advocate for that, and I think it's a win-win for everyone involved. It's a win-win-win. So thank you.
Thank you. Barbara Lau, did I get that right? LAU?
Okay. Hi, I am not a resident of the city of Woodinville. I live just outside, but I work within the city of Woodinville. And I'm commenting in opposition to the Wood Mountain Development Agreement and the proposed code change. And to me, it doesn't take much to ruin the foundation of what has made the Woodinville area so special. And it's so important to constituents and tourists that we're on the verge of losing this special character. This huge development will already cause environmental and community disruption and could lead to the demise of the Woodinville wine country tourism. I strongly support a dense, livable city full of vibrant homes, parks, and services. But we need to commit to the GMA plan, and this development is out of character to the surrounding farms, winery, and parks. It does nothing really to enhance the city of Woodinville. It also is referring back to a 2018 SEPA checklist where the residential square footage, as Ms. Bounty Sanders said, the environmental impact analysis listed 1,300 square feet, whereas the developers today say it's going to be over 500,000 square feet of residential development, which should require a new SEPA analysis. It should invalidate that SEPA analysis. And I also looked at, with the FOIA, I looked at the mitigation required, the mitigated DNS, and it requires things like traffic impacts and so forth. And these are not being met currently with the current documents. That DNS was written in 2019. This should require a new transportation impact analysis to assess the traffic impacts given the existing transportation constraints, especially with D.R. Horton's 32-acre housing development up with where the former Oakworth Arabian horse farm was, a mile from the site, and it's a direct route from this development over to the 405. There's also a lot of environmental impacts, and I'm sure that, again, we need to have a SEPA to review that again. Finally, I know a lot of people want the cost of the parking structure actually looked at for the city, but we also have to look at your climate goals. You're pushing human development into a sensitive environmental ecosystem. And the ecosystem has been critical to our watershed, to our orcas, to our salmon, and taxpayer dollars were spent to preserve this ecosystem. And the ordinance is open-ended and should be also denied. And I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's the end of our public comment.